Randy McKee here at Soccer 605, and I'm here in the bleachers with Jack Fehrenz, who heads up the Men's Premier League here in Sioux Falls and one of the coordinators here at the Prairie Hills tournament. Jack, thanks for being with us today.
Well, thank you for having me, Randy.
Well,
Go ahead.
Well, we had kind of a humid, cloudy, rainy day yesterday, but boy, today's a totally different day. Perfect soccer.
Yeah, it's great weather for soccer today. The humidity's down, the temperature's comfortable. We're sitting here watching a very good competitive co-ed game right now, and can't ask for more.
No, you can't. And, like you said, all the games have been pretty competitive. And, on the men's premier side, it looks like we're, going to get a good competitive championship game this afternoon. And, you can't ask for anything more than that.
No, we're down to 3 teams that are vying for it right now. We've got the Redlinger brothers who've locked their spot in the championship game. And we've got one more match this afternoon between the Sioux Falls 77s and Dakota Tyneside. And that game's going to decide the opponent for that game. And then there's one other match still to be played. Unfortunately, those 2 teams are out of it, but they're going to come out and they're going to play their hardest, and they're going to make their effort to at least finish the weekend on a high note.
We're hoping to see the 77s have a full side. They played a man down all morning this morning against Redlinger brothers, and that sure didn't help them against that very good team.
No, it really didn't. I mean, we've had a couple teams. Redlinger brothers actually played 2 men down last night, got an early goal, bunkered it in, and held on for the win. And the 77s made a great effort this morning, especially considering the fact that they were a man down. And yeah, it's hard. We all have real jobs, and it's a weekend event, and we're in the middle of wedding season as well. And so we've had a lot of guys getting married and a lot of guys unavailable, and we're all kind of juggling our rosters.
Talking with one of the guys this morning who has been playing in both co-ed and men's, he's looking at the prospect of maybe, if everything goes right, of having 5 games today. That's plenty of exercise for a guy who's not playing every day.
Well, yeah, I mean, we've got Andrew Woobin who's out here on the field right now, and right now his team looks like they're about to make, it's a little early, but possibly going to make a final. And he plays for Dakota Tyneside, and if Dakota Tyneside makes the final, Andrew's going to play 9 games this weekend. That's a full weekend of soccer.
Yeah, he definitely got his money's worth. Well, it looks like it could be this Nemesis team against I think that skills team is probably through. Again, a very good team. And, like you were talking earlier to me, the big difference in that team is the quality of the women players they have in their side.
Yeah, I mean, a big part of co-ed is good women's players. I mean, you want to have strong women, and not to take anything away from the men, but you know what? The best co-ed teams are built around really strong women.
Well, talking with one of the players earlier today, and asked her, what her take was on it, and she goes, it's probably easier in Sioux Falls to find good men players than it is really good women players, and if you can get 3 or 4 really good women players on your team, you're going to have an advantage.
Yeah, I mean, the soccer community's growing. We're getting that many more young girls that are coming through the ranks with your Dakota Alliance programs and your Dakota United programs, your new Rapid City Rapids programs. I mean, and programs like that. And some of those kids from the east of the state, they're moving over here. They're finding jobs in Sioux Falls. So, I mean, knock on wood, a couple years down the line, maybe we'll be able to have that strong women's league here in town as well. At one time there was. Hopefully it'll be again.
Well, yeah, and, we can't forget Tempo. They're the fastest growing club in the state, and, they've got a really rapidly growing girls' side in their club.
Yeah, I mean, and forgive me for forgetting about Tempo. But yeah, again, it's another great program that's here. And some of the outlying communities have very strong programs too. Your Aberdeens, and they're more recreational type programs, but there are good players that are developing and coming out of those programs as well.
This year they've really done a nice job between Brookings and Watertown. We got a couple towns collaborating. Mm-hmm. They put that select side together. Yep. And they've got a handful of extremely good players in that group. So, the future looks pretty good. What about the future of the kind of your focus has been since you've been around here is having a high quality men's premier program. How's that program done this year?
Well, I mean, our premier program, our first year we had 5 teams. We went through a couple of years with 4. We're back up to 5 teams again this year. And those teams are the teams that are participating this weekend in the tournament. We thought we had one more team, and they unfortunately had to drop out at the last second. We certainly would love to see the east side of the state come over. We know there's a little bit of travel constraints to do it, but we would love to see Rapid City represented. There are good teams again, Pierre, Aberdeen. We would love to see those programs send teams over and play. You know, our focus is growing this Prairie Hills Invitational into something that regionally is a very well-respected tournament. We've sent out invitations to Omaha. We've sent out invitations to the Minneapolis area. And once we get a team down here and they see just how well-run and organized the tournament is and how much fun it is, and that we do have, I mean, we're playing in this gorgeous facility here at O'Gorman. We play over at Yankton Trail Park. Both facilities are great, good quality fields, good quality competition.
Well, you know, and looking at a lot of the people you have reffing these games, you know, you've got some really, really good referees here too. So, I mean, all that adds up to make a very good tournament.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, we've got referees, excuse me, representing Iowa coming in. We've got our South Dakota referees represented here. We have a Minnesota referee that comes down and helps us. So, yeah, I mean, we're drawing in very good, top quality regional referees. That certainly helps. Yeah, and I mean, we're growing this thing. It's a lot of fun. We're enjoying it. I mean, we couldn't ask for more. Sure, it was a little hot, maybe a little humid yesterday, but I mean, today, perfect soccer weather.
Well, it's summertime in South Dakota. You can't just expect perfection every day. We're gonna get a little rain.
Yeah,
but you know, they made it through it. Everything worked great.
Yeah, we had that little bit of rain yesterday, but we played right through it. No severe weather. It seemed to miss us on both sides, which was great. We were able to keep everything on schedule and moving right along.
Well, I'm going to let you get back to the tournament, but I have one more question. I'm wondering what your take is on, you know, the U.S. national team's chance against Belgium, and then as we move forward, if we need to, you know, have too much good luck against Argentina, because we're really right at the point now where a couple good breaks can make you go to the next round.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've really performed well to this point. We've done it with a couple of players that haven't necessarily been absolutely at their top. Certainly we're all knocking on wood, and we're hoping that Josie ends up being available to us, because sure, we're that one player better. Belgium, top to bottom, in my opinion, probably the most stacked roster in the World Cup. I mean, and not to take anything from Argentina or Brazil that have really great deep rosters, but that Belgium roster is stacked. But to this point, they had an easy group. They haven't played that well as a team, and that may bode really well for us. And again, knock on wood, we'll hope that three's the charm for the U.S. against Belgium. And I like our chances. You know, I think it's going to be a very open and great game. I mean, both teams are going to have to go out. You got to play to win at this point. It's win and move on. So,
you know, they're reading this morning, they're having a little bit of mental weakness inside of their team, like some of these other teams have. You know, and you go on that, get on that stage, and you're under all that stress. And if you don't have a well conditioned, psychologically conditioned athlete, they're going to struggle. You know, we saw that happen with Ghana. We're seeing some of that, you know, with the player going off in Belgium the other day and not shaking the coach's hand, and there's a little trouble in the locker room. You know, all that stuff really works against you in that environment, and it seems like that's one thing our guys have really been able to do. They're playing for each other and holding it steady.
Yeah, I mean, I think Jurgen put together a very good roster, and I'm certain that one of the things that factored into to it was how his team chemistry was going to work out. I mean, do we miss a Landon Donovan? Sure, in a lot of ways we miss a Landon Donovan. Do we miss an Eddie Johnson? Sure, in a lot of ways we miss an Eddie Johnson. But you know what? Jurgen has pulled all the right strings to this point. He's made very shrewd substitutions. The guys that he's chosen and the guys that he's used off the bench, when he's used them, man, they've all done exactly what he's asked of them, and we moved on. I mean, you can't ask for more.
No, you can't. Well, Jack, thanks for spending a little time with us. Great tournament here, and I can't wait to see what you guys put together for next year.
Oh, well, thanks, Randy. Thanks for coming out, and thanks, Soccer 605, for everything that you do for South Dakota soccer and supporting us all.
Thanks. And thank you for watching Soccer 605.